Damn it. Hey everybody, welcome back to Zippy Industries. As always, I'm Chris. So today we're doing more work on the shovel. We're going to try and finish up the sissy bar. Mainly get our taillights and all that mounted and fix our off-center bars, because quite frankly it's going to drive me nuts if I leave it alone. So one thing we got to do is, I've already marked it out. This will be where our bend is. So it's like, what, a good inch over. So we'll heat this up and bend it here. That way they'll match. And then we'll have a gap in the middle, which I got to figure out. So we'll fix that. We'll get these bent over and then our gap. So last night I made these for our taillights. So these are going to be our taillights. They're little LED lights. These things are stupid bright. And we're going to run 3 of them. The other one's somewhere around here. But, so I chucked up some aluminum in the mill, and I made 3 of these little pucks for the housing. This is what it looks like. And then, after that, I made these little rings out of stainless. So, your puck will sit in here, and it'll center it up around there. And then we have a nice trim ring for our aluminum for our lights. This is stainless, so I can weld it to our sissy bar. So that'll look pretty nice once we get it done. I did run into a problem last night. The old Miller, I've had that thing, Syncrowave 210. I've had it for about 8 years and haven't really had any problems with it until lately. The rocker switch periodically wouldn't make contact and it would shut off. So last night, actually, it decided it didn't want to work anymore and it was intermittent. But I was able to take the rocker switch apart and clean the contacts inside. And there's just 2 little contacts in there that rock back and forth, and it makes a contact inside. Very simple mechanism, but it looked like the contacts were starting to arc on the one side. So took and cleaned those up, put it back in, and it's good to go. So I was able to tack these little rings together last night and avoid any downtime. So probably gonna order a new switch just to have it on backup, but should be fine. It didn't look like there's any actual damage inside. Just for whatever reason, it had some mark out issues. Maybe it had dust inside that was causing problems. I don't know. Anyway, it's back up and running, so we're good to go there. So the next thing we'll be doing is working on the sissy bar. We gotta get it bent out. So when we bend it out, I'm thinking about trying to put a taillight down here. It'll be in between the bars themselves, but put it in here and recess it under there. Might take our fender down a little bit. We do have quite a bit of room underneath, but we could indent that and recess it so then it looks really nice in there. But we'll see. We got to get this bar bent first before we do anything. So I have my tacks cut apart. We're going to try and bend this without destroying everything. So hopefully I can get this high enough to bend this without fucking all this up. So, because it is what's holding our fender together. So I do need to figure out some sort of clamping deal here to hold this together. So we'll get on that and then we'll start bending this and hopefully we don't screw it up. Alright, so we got it bent over. The bottom is pretty close to the same, but we got to bend this side back a little bit because it's a little forward. So I clamped it here with some piece of 1/4 inch scraps to keep our bend straight, keep it in line. And then I use those pliers and this will help me pull it back. So just going to put a little bit of heat on it here, bend this back, and then get these in line, and then we'll keep going from there. right, so whole lot of work here to get these to where they're at. They're not exactly the same, but they're pretty close. This has a little tire bend on this side, but they are centered now. So there's that. Sorry I didn't video all of it. Ran out of oxygen and acetylene earlier. I do a very small setup. For the amount of time I actually use a torch, I really getting a bigger setup isn't really worth it to me. But anyway, I'm out of acetylene again, so we're gonna go with what we had, and mainly because if I fuck with it anymore, I'm gonna screw it up and we're gonna start over. But this is where we're at. So we have all this going on. Our sissy bar is centered finally. It's not way off to the right. So, and these bars are just below the front. They're like half an inch shorter. So that's the plan there. We have all of our taillight rings. They do fit in here. They fit in really nice. So the plan is to put 3 of these bad boys up through here. And at the top, I'm really kind of in debate. So I bent this little piece here to put in here, which I still have to shape it in order to get it in here. So either want to put it in here and just have it super clean, put our taillight nested in here, or drop it down a little bit and do some kind of sort of a trident type deal. What we go with, I don't know. I gotta make another one of these anyway for the bottom, so I gotta bend another one and then cut it off and make another one just so it finishes it off. That way we can have one on the bottom. I can nest the taillight in there and then put one on the top, nest the taillight in there. We got our 3 taillights and we'll be good to go. So it is a pretty decent angle, so passengers should have, pretty comfy ride for the most part. And it's almost the same, or pretty close to the same as the driver one, so it kind of mimics it type deal. So moving along, next thing we got to do is figure out what we're going to do up here on top. So probably going to grind this thing down, cope it so that it'll actually fit. We can get it in here, and then from there we'll fit it and see what things look like, and then see if we're going to do a trident or if we're just going to do a round deal on top and just make it look really clean. I don't know yet. I'm kind of leaning towards a trident just because it's kind of cool. It kind of pays homage to, old school chopper stuff. A lot of guys do tridents type deals. So probably going to coat the little radius piece we have there, and then put a trident like spike on it and see what it looks like. See if we can have a decent sized one that still allows us to run our 3 taillights, and then go from there. So let's get to coping it all and get it on. Alright, so got our top piece tacked on. As you see, I decided not to go with the trident. We're just going to do a rounded bar. Since we have our 3 lights, it'll be a lot cleaner. I put a bar in the bottom. Got a finish weld everything, of course. And now you can see my crazy bend. Don't know that we can fix that without pulling this in and doing some crazy shit. Anyway, it'll be fine. But now you can see our 3 lights that we have going on. Each one of these pods is going to have a light, so should be pretty substantial. People will still probably hit me because they're not paying attention. Cell phones. TikTok rules the world. So that's going to do it for our sissy bar. So all we got left to do is I got to finish weld these top joints. I got to take all the little pods off, finish weld them around the ring, put that backing plate on, and then put the lights in. And then from there we got to build us a seat pad. So the wife did sit on here. It comes up to about her shoulder blades with the height. So it should be pretty good for her. Shouldn't really have any problems, and it's pretty robust. So it's 5/8 inch stainless, so we'll see what happens. Yeah, I don't see any issues. Yeah, but that's going to do it for now. So got a lot of welding to do on this. Next thing we're probably going to do, I need to mount the front headlight, and we need to do the foot controls. Foot controls are going to be our last biggest fabrication thing. The exhaust is the exhaust. It shouldn't be too difficult, but that's all going to be dependent on how we run our foot pegs and whatnot. So might cut off those mounts and angle them out just so things are a little nicer, a little easier to you know, route. Otherwise, we'll run with what we got. So that's definitely upcoming, and that's going to be quite the task. So stay tuned for that. And so if you notice, there's some parts missing. That's because they're on the floor. We're going to finish weld our sissy bar and our fender, and the yellow is going to go by. So I'm going to put a stripping wheel on our grinder there. This guy right here, this quick strip, works really well. Actually took the chrome off too. So we're going to strip this all down so that we can finish weld this. We're going to get rid of all these tabs, and also clean the inside out. We got to get rid of all this crap, and then I'm going to put some braces in here for where it's welded at so that it'll be nice and sturdy and we won't have any issues, hopefully, with cracking. So let's get to it. So no more yellow. Got all our bungs welded on, turned out pretty well for the most part. Got our sissy bar all welded up, so now we just gotta wait for this thing to cool down because it is stupid hot. Got our little taillight housing pieces welded up. Once everything cools down, these will shape up and get them mounted in here so we can weld them, but I gotta clean up the welds and whatnot first to make them look pretty. And then once those cool down and we shape the rest of this, I'm going to shape this all, and then we'll weld those into here and they'll be permanent. Yeah, so that's it for those. This guy here, I still got to cut the tabs off. As you see, there's some dents. When I took this off, the paint off, there was some Bondo in here, so don't do that. I really want to take these straps out, but I think they're brazed here on the end, and then they're spot welded, so we'll see about that. I might just cut them back here where this spot weld is, and then just leave the tab, or take the tab off and leave the rest. But I need to make a strap to go in here for a little bracing for the sissy bar, because that's where our main passenger is going to sit. This one kind of has half a strap. I might finish this out so that way we have a full strap in there. But we'll build something for back here. That way it has a more of a fender sport going on. That'll be built into the sissy bar. So yeah, getting closer, and have a couple things fully welded finally. So let's get the strap made, and then the fender will be done. So we got our sissy bar and fender all mounted back up. Still need to shape all this stuff. I just want to make sure everything fit before we went to that, so in case we need to tweak anything. But looks pretty nice. Yeah. So there we are. Got my little taillight deals in here. Still got to shape these up, and then we'll weld them on. But before I do all that, I want to finish the bar itself. But that thing is solid. It ain't going anywhere. So should be pretty nice angle for the backrest. It doesn't go past the rear tire, which is nice, and it is just about bar height, so that's good. And you notice there's no more yellow. Stripped all the yellow off finally. Got all the tabs off. Was able to remove that structure inside. That was a huge pain in the butt, but it is all done. So still need to make some spacers down in here for those. Now that we have our final, this is where it's going to sit. I can measure those and we can do that. But today we're going to finish shaping this. So figure out how we want to do this, if I want to keep this round or just run it all in. But we'll get to that. Biggest thing today I want to do is get these little pucks shaped and get them tacked on here, or get them welded on here. That way that is all done, and we'll shape the top of this. We're going to bring it down and around, round this all out, make it look really nice, and then dress up the stainless from where we heated it up. Get that all looking pretty again so everything looks really nice, and get it ready to brush it or whatever we're going to do with it. So that's where we're at, but very happy. Yellow was gone, so finally. That was a huge pain in the butt. So definitely looks a lot better not in yellow. We have one hole here I got to fit, or I got to weld up that from a previous, from when it was a front fender. So there's one there, and then there's a little spot from where I took the spot weld out, and it popped, it pulled through the damn metal. So gotta take that out. I gotta find it. We gotta weld that up. There's a couple dents we gotta fix, but that's later. That'll be when we do body work. We'll fix that. So we did get our structure inside here, so that is good to go. There's an 1/8" plate in here. You can see where I welded it. It's a nice brace. It's welded on both ends. It runs through here. This thing is super solid now. It was pretty solid before, but now it's really not going to go anywhere with the passenger on it. So shouldn't have any problems. Other thing we got to do is we got to weld these tabs on, or weld the mounts on there, and then as far as that, it's all done. But we have a lot of other welding we got to do on our frame anyway. So once we break everything down, we'll probably do that. So yeah, let's get to shaping this. The other thing I want to do today is finish weld our seat pan and start to put the foam on it. Alright, so we got our cups all polished up here. This wheel works really well. Looks like I need to hit that one a little bit more on the radius, but overall they do really well. It takes all the 40 grit scratches out. But this is the medium grit. It's made by Sibo. My local welding shop had these, and I figured I'd give them a shot. See how they would do. They're for polishing stainless, mainly handrails and stuff. But it has alternating layers of sandpaper and Scotch-Brite. I also have a very fine one, which I can really polish these if I want to. But I think we're going to leave it kind of this brushed look. I don't think we're going to polish them out, so that's the whole plan. But really, I got these for when I had the shovel, or when I built those. I built the exhaust for the Sporty. I got these to you know, grind out the welds and then do an actual polish on them and blend them in really well. One thing, definitely wear a respirator because it does throw some very fine dust essentially. Last time I didn't, like an idiot, and definitely blew my nose and had a lot of black stuff come out. So definitely wear a respirator when you're doing this, like all the polishing stuff. So next we're gonna get the sissy bar off and start going at it with the grinder. Alright, so we got a really good start. Got all this ground down. We kept our little radius here, trying to keep this round part in here, to keep this divided so it's not just a solid block. So still got to do a little bit more welding here to fill this in. I got a little spot there. Need to add a little bit in here. And on the other side, need to add a little spot down here. But overall, pretty good start. Need to add a little bit there. It's a little low. Trying to keep this radius around, so you add a little bit there. But for the most part, pretty well. So I think this is what we're going to do on top. Originally I was going to round this off, but if I keep these ears, it'll keep some structure. It'll keep it a little more rigid. And I kind of like the little squared off round deal. So I forgot to weld the insides here when I was welding this up, so I got to do that and add some more where they're low. So got a little bit more welding to do. Got some on the top there to do. This side overall looks pretty well. Need to radius this when we get to there. Maybe add a little bit here because I kind of gouged it out and there, just to keep the radius going. But overall, really good start. So we'll keep going. Alright, so got our first stage of polish with the medium wheel. Put some more filler in here. I still need to do a little bit here just to finish this out. But you can kind of see the shape we got going on. You can see it's divoted down, so this isn't all flat. It has some shape to it and whatnot. That's what we're going to go with on top. So round on the inside, and then ooh, close up there. And then it's kind of flat on top, little deal. But you know, it still fits our taillights and whatnot. So next thing we got to do, now that we got this inside all cleaned up, is get our taillights in here and get those mounted. So let's get to that. Alright, so here it is. Got our taillight buckets welded on. Went ahead and touched up these. Got some more weld in there. There's some plastic on there I need to scrub off. Anyway, still need to do a little more refining down here, but looking pretty good, pretty close. We'll do all this after we get everything else done. Still gotta refine this bottom a little bit, but I gotta get files and stuff, or use a burr, whatever. On the back it looks pretty good, but we got a nice groove set in here. I'm pretty happy with how, you know, the shape's coming out. So got them welded on. They're all flush to the back, so when we do our seat pad, we can have it flat. The only other thing I gotta figure out is how I'm gonna mount the seat pad. I think I'm gonna do a little tab maybe up here or down here or something, and just do a small bolt, you know, 1/4 inch bolt. The top and bottom, it's kind of hidden, you won't really see it. I thought I'd put them in the middle, but I really don't want it to be seen. So, probably gonna do our back plate in stainless, or we might do it in steel. Still undecided. If I do it in steel, then I can just paint it black. If we do it in stainless, we could polish it. So, if we do it in black, it'll give a nice contrast, it'll give a nice background to our lights. So let's go ahead and get it back on and get our lights on. All right, so yeah, it's back on. This thing fought me hardcore. If you've ever dealt with stainless before, it's kind of a pain in the ass because when you heat it, it moves. So I put it back on the bike, and first off I welded the pods for the taillights on backwards, so that was fun to find out because I wasn't paying attention. So I had to re-weld those, but the whole thing had shrunk, or the arms themselves had pulled in about 1 inch. So had to go back and figure out where to bend and how to get it to fit right again, and it's a pain in the butt. It is a little crooked, but it's going to work because it fits really well now. With the bottom, with the way everything mounts, it does lean a little to the left now, but depending on how you look at it, you can't really notice it. It's fairly straight. So we got our taillight buckets, they're all welded on. The only last thing I do for welding on this is we got to put our seat pad on here. So I got to figure out some tabs for that. I'll probably put them down here on the bottom and top, maybe run off this light or something. That way it's hidden. Or maybe we'll put it under here and under here. That way you can't see the bolt head when you're just standing up looking at it. So we'll see. But that's the next thing we got to do on that. So the sissy bar for the most part is finished. We still got to do a little bit of shaping down here on the bottom. So there is that, but it's all mounted and it fits nice. It only took me about an hour of fighting it to get it there. So next thing is we're gonna put our lights in and see how they look. These things are still a little warm, but they're not too bad. So we'll get our lights in and then take a peek. All right, so we got our seat pad all backrest all done here. Well, template anyway. Just gotta cut it out on the old Harbor Freight shear here because Beverly shears are expensive and this thing works for the most part. So let's get this going. Do a little more trimming. I got it in here pretty good, so it'll fit our radiuses pretty well. So marked our holes for our taillights, so we'll get those punched through, and then mainly these are just so I can oversize them later, so that the seat will actually fit over the bolts. So but they all line up. So I'm probably gonna put our, like we talked about, our tab in here, and then one at the bottom, but we'll do that later. There we go. Got all our lights mounted. Got our backing plate for our pad on there. It looks really nice. Pretty happy with it. So we'll go ahead and light one of these up just so you can see how bright they are. Put my anti-gravity mirror here. So let's do do a running light first. That's a running light, so when the, when the headlights are on. And then this is the tail light. So put 3 of those bad boys together, and I think we're going to be all right. So definitely should be able to see us at least from the rear. So lights wise anyway. So we'll see, but that's going to do it for the sissy bar. Finally, it is more or less done. I just got to do those couple, little details of shaping the lower part there. But as far as construction and fabrication and whatnot, it is finally done. The lights are all mounted. We got our seat pad, backing plate mounted. Next thing we got to do is foam our seats. Probably going to wait for that until we get the controls on, just so I can, have a better feel for, any hot spots where my legs are going to sit when they're on the foot pegs and whatnot. So, yeah, that's going to do it. We're getting closer on this thing. So, little by little, step by step, right? So, I had a few setbacks with the stainless, but we got them worked out, and fairly happy with how it turned out. So it's gonna definitely work for now. So up next is gonna be the foot pegs. I know I've said that like 5 or 6 times now, but we're actually gonna get to it now that we finished the sissy bar up. I really wanted to get the fender and sissy bar done, mainly so I could start foaming it, and you could actually sit on it and make sure that it's gonna be comfy and it is in the right position. So the wife sat on it last night, and it's a little lazy boyish. Like, it's got a good recline to it, and I sat on it, and it's a lazy boy because I can lay against her, and it's pretty nice. So, but yeah, we'll see how it goes. So, all right, that's gonna do it for this video. Take care, everybody. We'll see you later.